Well, when you first got started, like how much did you have done before you started putting it on the web? Were you just a lot of ideas, or were there X number of comics drawn?
Well, a lot of people work very differently. Speaking personally, this is the biggest advice I can. This is actually correlates to the biggest advice I can give to anyone who wants to start a webcomic. My idea was just half formed. Really, I had a fortune teller and this talking cat, and I had a couple of funny jokes, maybe 5, and I said, "Okay, let's go." I mean, a lot of people need to plan out. Like, okay, I'm going to start with this. This is the world I'm going to work it around, and this is the eventual area, and that's how you work. Great, whatever works for you. But I mean, I've seen so many webcomics get lost in the planning and trying to perfect everything before it goes online. So with me, I mean, I basically had really crummy doodles in a notebook that I just said, okay, let's just put this online and see what happens. And that's all it is. I mean, if all you have is like a couple of like crayon doodles on napkins, just go, put it online. Just go for it. Like, I don't know what this is. Go. That's the beauty about webcomics too, is that people, they're works in progress. You know, you almost kind of have to start out looking like crap because there's nothing but uphill over there. So me personally, I didn't have a lot at all, but I just went for it because I knew if I thought too much about it, I would have lost the nerve. So I just went for it, and then it was online. I had no choice but to kind of just fix it.
Oh, I can answer you. I got nothing. But no, seriously, it's like I'm kind of like empty on this one. It's like I have like maybe 5 jokes lined up because the original thing for my comic was it was just going to be me writing about my job. And there's only so many funny stories you can get from working at a daily job. Right? So it's like, well, after that, I was like, well, geez, you know, I did an update for like a couple weeks, and then I got this first piece of hate mail. Where's the update? And I'm like, it's free. I should update. So it's like, oh Christ, what is the character going to do when she's not in the bagel shop? And that, you know, spills into just, you know, all kind of, now this character's traveling the world, doing all kinds of crazy crap. But, you know, it started out with a very simple idea with maybe 5 jokes attached to it, and then, so, you know, if you plan the whole thing out ahead of time, it's very stilted, and this is how it goes, you know. I mean, there's a place and time for that, you know, especially if you're pouring yourself into like a novel writing sort of situation. But if you're doing, I think, especially with comic working, you're gonna run yourself into a corner, you put yourself in a corner. So I don't write for drama, so I won't know. So you write for drama and action, right? So what's your take on that?
This is going to sound incredibly pretentious of me, and I
Oh,
generally
yeah.
don't mean it to. But when I first started my comic, I had 8 years of story that I'd already worked out. And it was all spawned from a mod I made for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And the whole idea I first came up with, because I already had a site at the time that I had my music and flash animation. And I was originally going to write a novel. And then I came to the realization that I'm a control freak. And I don't want people to imagine what things look like. I wanted to show them what things look like. So I decided to go ahead and put it in comic form and took those 8 years of notes and world and language and weapons and everything else. I mean, you know, it's not on the level of Tolkien, but I went into that kind of obsessive, compulsive nature of going, it's like, okay, the button has to look like this, and it's an epsilon, it's not a figure 8, you know, the whole 9 yards. Before I put page 1 online, but they're right as far as, you know, trying to really stilt it out. Even today, I will go back and I try to write by chapter when I'm doing a comic now, and I'll go and I'll make tons and tons of changes, and the story will go somewhere I didn't think it would at the beginning because I want to keep it fluid. I've even restarted the comic at one point because the early stuff I was drawing looked like Rorschach tests, and I didn't put those up online anymore. And she, you know, sent me a nice long hate mail about your drawing sucks, Jesus hates you.
Your mom hates you, your grandma hates you.
Yeah, I used your grandmother for a skateboard.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely right though. Even if you go into the most minutia of detail, the detritus of the world like I did, you don't want to lock yourself into that. From any perspective, from a drawing perspective, from a writing perspective, the whole idea of a creative mind is that it is not locked in stasis. You're not thinking with your brain, you're thinking with your right brain. And your right brain is, it's never on a straight path. keep that in mind when you're just doing your story and let it dictate you, not the other way around. But the corollary to that is your fans are always going to ask you for stuff to put in your comic. Hey, I've got this great idea. Why don't you put X in your comic? Some people can get away with that. Yeah, some people can get away with that, and it works for them, especially if they're just doing a loose freeform comic they want to please their fans. But if it in any way deviates from what you have in mind for your work, I say don't do it. It's your baby, it's your love, and the biggest fan of your work, and not in an egotistical sense, has to be you, because you have to love what you do. Wow, I sound ambitious.
No,
I'm fucking holier than thou.
I'm gonna sip all of my drink with my pinky up now.
Yeah, I know.
as I sit here with my pinky up,
Yeah.
I are a girl. I are manners. Watch me drink my full throttle fury.
Feel the caffeine. You guys have any questions about the
Process.
establishment process or
Anything,
meetings of
anything.
comics? Otherwise, we're just gonna start talking.
Although
Yeah,
let's just start.
sure. What's up?
I'm having problems with inking.
Okay.
And what do you people do for the
Maybe
inking
we should do
process?
something different.
We should start.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I work on with pen ink. So with inking, I put the pencil down, and then I just use like a regular old like pilot pen. I get it at CVS. Again, whatever works for me.
Okay.
And I go over the pencil, and I erase the pen, like the ink to dry, and I erase everything so like the ink doesn't smear when I do it. And then I go over everything again after I fill in all the details and stuff with. Some people use micron pens. I use Statler pigment liners. Essentially, they do the same thing, but they both have different feels. The thickness is that's the ones right there. Good stuff. I love those things. I used on that exact pack actually with 4 different thicknesses. I used the size 1, 3, 5, and 7. 1 being the thinnest, 7 being the thickest. It can even go lower than that, like 005 I think is even thinner than 01. So for the finest lines, I do that. I use the finest lines, I use the 01. For the thickest lines, I use the 07. And for large areas of black, I just use a marker I can get my hands on. Sometimes it's a black Prismacolor marker, and if I'm out of those, sometimes it's just a Sharpie that I can find. Because once it's online, I mean, who cares how you got everything to look in a big black square? I mean, you could use chocolate. Who cares? It's just that you need the black, you just use it for anything. So that's what
I use Boston.
chocolate.
What do you do on that?
Well, Mookie, you're saying that you just draw directly on your pencils.
Yeah, I draw directly on the pencil.
I used to do that, but I found when I scanned it in, there was something about the resolution of my scan or something, and I just keep picking up pencil lines. I spend so much time sitting there erasing pencil lines. So it's like I have to take that extra step because
scanner than I do.
well, I'm incredibly anal about looking at all those little tiny, like coloring. I'm like, I can see pencil lines, I can see pencil lines. Damn it, you know. So I spend like 2 hours erasing pencil lines, where I spend an extra 30 minutes. I do the sketches, I put that on top of my light box, put a piece of just regular typing paper on top of that, take a 0.8 Millennium Zig or Copic, because those things are awesome, and just ink that, and then scan that in, put it all together in the computer. And I find it just saves me so much more time than having to erase. Because I mean, if you've got a good scanner that will pick up all those tiny little pencil lines that you miss, then hey, we'll kind of see that I can't do that. So yeah.
When I first started comic, since I'm drawing a full-size comic board, what I would normally do, scan it in, and then I print them out as blue line art. And this is what you'll find a lot in the mainstream comic illustration, where they're doing everything on blue line, blue pencils and stuff like that. So I was using microns, Millennium Zigs, brush pens, India ink, everything. Actually ink it that way, scan it back into the computer as black and white, and the blue lines go away. Hawk spoiled me, Hawk Mountain Peaks, and once I got my Webcomics How-To and I started coloring it out, he's like, you should really try digitally inking. And I was like, okay, I can give it a try. And it took a while practicing with it, but I eventually got it, so now I ink everything digitally, and it stays me a little more time. But there was a period of a month there where it was taking like 6 times as long to ink something while I was making that transition.